Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to another fabulous week of our American Lit class. Happy Valentine's Day. Hopefully you guys are feeling very loved today. And you should feel happy because the midterm's done, so being done with that is sort of a Valentine's present. Hooray! I'm going to be grading those this week, so you should have your scores released by Friday at the end of the day, so you don't get held in suspense for too long about how you did on that quiz. So thank you for your hard work and your investment in both the quiz and the essay portion. I'm really looking forward to reading your ideas, seeing how you interpreted the text, and seeing how you wove together your understanding on different topics with different authors. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. As we take a look at this week, we are moving into the Post-Modernism movement, which is, of course, the movement after modernism. And post comes with Post-Modernism, right? Yeah, makes sense. More ideas that we get to deal with, more overarching themes. We dealt a lot with feminism and with war and with violence and identity and race in modernism movement. We deal with those things again in the postmodernism movement, but they're discussed in different ways, and you're going to see an expansion on the types of authors we're getting to read. So during the modernism movement, we have less of a racial variety of authors, not because there weren't great authors of other cultures and races writing in America and trying to get published. It was just a much more difficult thing for them to become published and become successful enough to get listed in a book of anthologies. However, the postmodern movement shows us a much broader spectrum of ideas and cultures and races within the American experience, which I think is going to be a lot of fun to look at in the coming weeks. We get to start off with a really fun style of writing with O'Connor. O'Connor is known for a style called Southern Gothic, which means all the stories are set in the South, and they have a very dark kind of humor, like almost gallows style humor to them. O'Connor deals with some fairly disturbing material and instances of people interacting with each other and doing like crappy stuff to each other, but she deals with it in a way that makes you kind of laugh, but then makes you feel kind of guilty for laughing because you're like, I shouldn't be laughing. This was a bad thing that happened. But she writes in such a way that it kind of tickles your funny bone as well as surprising and shocking you. And that is characteristic of Southern Gothic. It has humor, but also is a very dark, kind of twisty sort of humor. So fun stuff coming there with O'Connor. The short story you're reading, Good Country People, is amazing. It's the same kind of dark, twisty, surprise, sort of funny story that you got with Faulkner earlier, with the lady who had her dead husband up in the bed and she'd been sleeping next to his dead body for 20 years or something, right? So we remember that story? Yeah, that's got a Gothic style to it. O'Connor has a newer version of that Gothic style set in the South. So have fun with that. It involves a lady with a prosthetic leg and a Bible salesman. So good things coming our way. And then you're going to be doing some work with O'Connor. We have a notes assignment there. You get to read a little bit of Ralph Ellison. He's got a very famous book called The Invisible Man. Insanely famous, published 1 million times, sort of thing. You don't have to read the whole book. You're welcome. Just an excerpt. Just a short excerpt from the book. And then there is an assignment looking at The Invisible Man, which is held up as a discussion of otherness, which is a big idea in postmodernism. Otherness being someone who doesn't conform to the norm for one reason or another, who is an outsider. And this could be for a lot of reasons. It could be because they are literally invisible, like in this book. Or Ralph Ellison is making a commentary of other kinds of invisibility, whether it's racial or gender or economic or social. How do we interact with people? Are there people who we are making invisible? Are we invisible to some groups? That kind of thing. So lots of really interesting discussion about in-group and out-group kind of situations, that us versus them kind of mentality that we run into oftentimes when we're dealing with people who are different than us in literature tends to be a common and kind of recurring theme. So Ralph Ellison's discussion of otherness in The Invisible Man is really interesting. Those weird noises in the background are my delightful dogs who have now seen a squirrel in the backyard and feel compelled to tell me about it. Guys, he won't hurt you. It's fine. They're ridiculous. So you are going to be working on a discussion about the Invisible Man and Otherness, and then on Friday you're going to weave. Hang on, doesn't it? Okay, we've dealt with the squirrel situation. We're fine now. So you're going to talk about O'Connor on Tuesday. You're going to talk about Ellison on Thursday, and then on Friday you're going to talk about the two of them together and discuss the kind of common themes that they have. One of those themes is invisibleness. If you want to look at that, Ralph Ellison talks a little bit about racial invisibility. That word was hard. And O'Connor talks a little bit about invisibility in a couple different ways. First of which is invisibility based on disability. She also talks about invisibility based on gender, invisibility based on attractiveness. Like, she's not a traditionally attractive character in this story, and so she feels invisible under the male gaze. So there's lots of really good discussions of invisibility that could come up from these pieces of writing, but there are also other themes, so don't feel like you have to talk about invisibility. That's just one of the ones that pops into my head, obviously, when I look at these two pieces. So that's what we're going to be working on this week. Hopefully you guys have a fabulous time reading. It's Valentine's Day, so I feel like we should probably do like a little extra credit boost. So if you want to earn extra credit for this week, send me an email, either through email or through the Canvas Messenger system, and tell me your favorite line from Good Country People, like just your favorite quote, and then tell me in a sentence or two why it's your favorite, and I'll give you extra credit. So kudos for being awesome. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. Have a great week and reach out with any questions.